Hey everyone! Our goal with this episode is to be inclusive and to honor the many different types of Blackness. Throughout the episode, we may say things like Black or African American, but our goal is that you feel included. If you identify as African, West Indian, Haitian, Latinx, Afro-Latina, Afro-Latino, and the many other types of Blackness encompassed within our culture, we hope that you see yourself. We hope that you identify with the stories the firefighters are going to share, and we hope that something clicks. So with that, I am sitting here with three wonderful men in the fire service, three wonderful people here to celebrate Black History Month. Thank you all so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
My name is Pakeman. I get to work at Cal-JAC. I get to do recruitment for Cal-JAC. I would love to have each of you introduce yourselves. So can we start off with you?
Absolutely.
All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis Jacobson. I've been in the fire service for almost 31 years. My first 25 and a half years were with San Jose Fire. Started out as a recruit firefighter there and retired as the fire chief. Subsequently, immediately after, I took the job as the fire chief in the city of Fremont, and I'm still there serving today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
How about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Logan. I'm the Deputy Fire Chief for San Diego City Fire Department. I've been on the job for 23 years.
All right. Thank you for being here.
My name's Johnny Gray III. I've been with LA County Fire Department for 12 years now, and I am a firefighter paramedic in the Air Operations Section, and I'm also president of the LA County Stentorians.
We're interested to hear more about that last piece as well.
Yes, ma'am.
But to start out, we have some experts here, so we're just going to jump right in. Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right. So who would like to go first? I would like to know, what was your journey into the fire service? And think of this question as maybe jobs you had before becoming a firefighter. Some of your journeys I know. But what did that journey look like for you?
I'll start off since I'm
Sure.
the journey's the closest. So my journey began as far as career-wise with the fire service through sports. I'm a son of a four-time Olympian, still holds the world record in 600 meters. And so that's all I knew was sports. I played professional basketball for 4 seasons overseas prior to becoming a firefighter, after not doing so well with my tryouts with the NBA. But I think that team aspect of what I grew up learning and that work ethic that I grew up seeing navigated me towards the fire service. I did not know any firefighters prior to this. It kind of fell in my lap, and it paralleled what I was doing. So back in 2008 or 2009, I met with Brent Burton at the Stentorian Center, and I just asked him, do I become a firefighter? And just the stars were aligned. County opened up a test the same month that I asked that question. And being a cocky athlete, I took the test, didn't know much, took the CPAT. I'm an athlete, I can do it.
Sometimes it takes a little cockiness, huh?
It also takes being very naive as well, because I did not know how hard it is to get this job. So that's where I started. I went from the basketball court to the firefighting field, so to speak. So same teamwork, same team aspect, same work ethic, same blood, sweat, and tears. Just now I'm serving the citizens of Los Angeles County.
And now you're here.
Now I'm here.
Yeah.
Now I'm here amongst legends.
Amongst legends. There we go. There we go.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's hear from the next legend.
Well, I sort of gave my story on our recruitment episode on growing up next to a fire station. So I grew up in San Diego, southeast San Diego, about 4 houses from a fire station. And at the time, the fire station was one of the only bright spots in the neighborhood. And on our previous episode, I went into talking about how I used to run to the window and watch a fire truck drive by, but I never saw anyone that looked like me. So I didn't think I can do that job. Fast forward a little bit, I went to the fire station once I became old enough to become a firefighter, and I was given some bad information that sort of stifled my thoughts, even abilities of ever thinking I can capture that goal. So I went off to work for Anheuser-Busch, actually. Started as a seasonal in summer and earned a spot. So they let all the seasonals go, but they kept me. and they saw something in me that just panned out and played out well for me. So I started off as a seasonal, as a merchandiser, stocking shelves and building displays. And by the end of my 9-year career there, I was one of the top salesmen in the company. During that process, I met some brothers from Brothers United who gave me the correct information on how to become a firefighter. And they were also putting on a class, an EMT class, which is just the minimum qualifications to become a firefighter. So I took that class with that organization, got on the correct path to becoming a firefighter, and I interviewed for EMT and firefighter. So at the time, we had a partnership with an ambulance company where fire stations had their own ambulances. So it's called a single role EMT. I didn't get a call back for firefighter, but I got a call back from EMT. Now, keep in mind, I had a 9-year career, I had a mortgage, I had bills. At that particular time, to be an EMT, the wage was $7.25 an hour. So all my coworkers thought I was insane. My family told me not to do it. But I had faith in myself. I took a bet, and I bet on myself. The same way I earned that spot at Anheuser-Busch, I knew I could earn a spot on the San Diego Fire Department. So I took that spot as an EMT, grinded it out. At one point, I think I had $7 in my savings account, and everything worked out. Next thing you know, I went to the Fire Academy, and here I am, Deputy Fire Chief for San Diego Fire Department.
Right. That's exactly how I feel. Wow. Incredible.
Small version of it.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's super inspirational, right? Like if you think you're taking a step back, it may end up being many steps ahead.
Sometimes you have to take a step back to move forward. And a lot of times we become products of our environment, but we're also products of our decisions. And if you can, life is complicated but simple, right? The goal is to try to make the best decisions as you can possible, right? And try not to make bad decisions. But if you believe in yourself and you bet on yourself and you make that correct decision, it can pay many dividends in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're interested to hear your story as well.
Okay. You've heard this a couple of times before. Let's see. Graduated high school in, I'm going to date myself, 1982. And I was living in Richmond, California, and went back to San Jose, which is a whole nother story. But came from a family that was pretty grounded in public service, social services, public law, and my mom was a dispatcher. Started out as a dispatcher before there was even 911. Back when it was 7-digit numbers, I remember my mom working towards when they were going to roll out 911. So always surrounded by people in public service. Didn't really know any firefighters, but when I graduated, decided, okay, I'm probably going to go to San Jose State. Ended up taking a few general ed classes at Mission College, recognized that they had a fire science program, and powered through 2 years of fire science. At the time in the early 80s, just like now, hiring is very cyclical. Now's a great time to be trying to get into the fire service, but in the early 80s, there weren't that many jobs. So I applied for one department in the Bay Area, didn't really put a lot of effort into studying for it, didn't pass the test, went back to San Jose State while working at the post office. And then a few years later, one of my fraternity brothers who had already been hired at San Jose Fire approached me and said, "Hey, Kurt, I know you got the fire science degree, you're active in the community, we're testing again, you should take the test." And at first I kind of shined him, "No, man, I'm good. I think I want to finish at San Jose State and I'm thinking about going to law school." And then another friend of ours from San Jose State also had gotten on the next class right before what subsequently turned out to be my class. And they both told me the same thing. "I can't even describe to you how good this job is. Please come visit us at the fire station." So went and did a couple of ride-alongs and just hanging out at the fire station. And the station that one of them was working at the time, 16 on the C shift in San Jose, was predominantly Black men and Hispanic men. So really cool vibe. Got to go and hang out, play basketball, watch TV, learn all about what the job entailed. And I was hooked. So in 1992, and the funny part is hearing both of their journey, we are literally 1 degree away from each other, even though that we're in totally different parts of the state, because he mentioned Brent Burton. Brent is one of my peers and a mentor to me when I got hired because of our activities with the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. And subsequently, the chief that hired me, Robert Osby, also hired Chief Logan. So he originally came from San Diego. They weren't really ready for him. He was quite the rabble-rouser and still is. And he left San Diego, became the chief in Inglewood, left Inglewood to become the chief in San Jose. He was the best chief San Jose has ever seen to this day. Love the man. Then he left to go back home to San Diego to be their chief. So we got hired by the same chief, and we have peers and mentors that are 1 degree of separation away for all of us.
So opening doors for one another along the way, and just making sure that, you're not closing it behind you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, definitely allowing more to come in.
And those doors span decades, though. I think that's very important to point out, too, is that, I started getting on, or starting my journey in 2008-ish, when he, Chief here was on the job already for 26 years. And again, the same people that helped him or, influenced him, influenced me as well. So I think it's very important to keep those doors open because you never know, in the year 2030, I can be sitting here with 2 other folks that, man, I remember back in 2008, Chief Jacobson helped me do this. Chief Logan helped me do this. So I think that the exposure and the camaraderie, as far as Black firefighters are concerned, is very important.
So both of you, speaking of camaraderie, have mentioned different groups. You mentioned Brothers United, and so you're wearing this fancy button-up from the LA County Stentorians. Can you talk a bit more about, and you mentioned the
Santa
International...
Clara County Black Firefighters was our chapter.
Absolutely. Can each of you kind of elaborate more on these groups? And I know that they all belong to the International Black Professional Firefighters. So... who would like to start?
I'm going to let the president start.
Let's hear from the president.
So the LA County Stentorians, it actually started out as just the Stentorians, the LA Stentorians, with the LA City Fire Department back in 1954. And it was important because, number one, the root word Stentor came from Homer's Iliad. It was a character that means loud voice, powerful voice. And the significance of that is that back in 1954, the Black firefighters had no voice. Number one, there were no women on the department, and there might have been 2 or 3 Black firefighters for LA City. And there was a lot of hazing, lots of messing with safety equipment going on during that time. They had to relieve each other. So if I worked with Chief Logan, he would have to relieve me the next day. A white firefighter or another firefighter couldn't relieve me. I had to wait. We had to bring our own mattresses, our own utensils. So with that going on, can you imagine living with a group of folks that don't like you, that don't want you there for 24 hours? No, so they had to speak about it and they united. There was a group of folks that did it together for LA City, and they created the Stentorians. We came about in 1990 when our causes were a little different because LA City had their issues and LA County had their issues. So we couldn't go stomp in the halls of LA City because we don't know what their issues are. So we created our own chapter back in 1990. I have to give props to the Herschel Clady's, the Van Davises, the Brent Burtons, Daryl Osby's, the Dan Scotts, Ollie Linsons, Robert Harris. Those are all the past presidents for LA County Stentorians. And I think that back in the 50s, they had no choice but to unite. That's the point of the fist, is unite. They couldn't do anything separate, so they had to come together. And that's the significance of this particular fist. It's just unity. It doesn't necessarily mean Black Power and things like that, because people don't know the history of that. It's strictly unity for everybody. Just so happened during that time it was for Black males in the fire service. And then the significance of the fire axe is obviously it's a firefighting job. So there's a fire axe. And the colors just signify the struggle, the blood, the color of the skin, and the land that we came from. So that is how the Stentorians were created. The motto is to keep the fire burning for justice. We want to recruit, retain, and help out with upward mobility. We are all inclusive. However, it is important to know where we started from. And it's important that me and my generation and those coming up behind me keep that torch burning so we can keep those doors open for decades. And we plan on continuing to do that. And we continue to partner with others in the region and continue just helping out and reaching back.
Mm-hmm. I know that while we're talking about the LA County Stentorians, I know that there are many, many ways that you guys give back to the community. Can you speak to just a couple in regards to like maybe preparation for testing or EMT programs or things like that that are a little more specific?
Yeah, no problem. So our last go around with testing, it was 2019, I believe, when we opened our last test. Mm-hmm. And we have a center, a Stentorian center. It's at a historical building in LA City that was the all-Black station for that time. So that is where our headquarters are. We had standing room only. We literally took candidates from the streets, those that were interested in becoming a firefighter, brought laptops in, created a government profile because a lot of them don't know how to do it, mm-hmm. or a lot of them don't have access to do it, mm-hmm. or a lot of them just need help. They may know how to do it, but it's better to do it in the group and make sure it's done right. Mm-hmm. We did that, and then we did a written prep seminar with them where we took books from Barnes & Nobles. We took LA County's prep book and went over every single question in that book, every single question, to the point where we taught them how to eliminate 2 answers immediately. So we taught test-taking strategies and skills. And then after we went through that, we went through the background interview process. And it's not just for LA County. Again, this is for anyone to get the badge. Mm-hmm. So went through background interview prep. They had to come suited and booted, as we say.
What does that mean?
So that means that you have to come with your suit. And I'm not talking your big zoot suit, because that does not look good in your interview. So we teach them that. Come in your navy, black, blue, gray, simple suit or dress or business suit, whatever it may be. And then we went over interview questions that we got from the internet. Mm-hmm. And we did it in front of the whole entire group. So not everyone got a chance to go through it, but they saw, they heard, and they visualized everything. And then through that, we did a kind of like a prep academy, so to speak. So we had a hose lay section. We had ladders. We had SCBAs. And we had ropes and knots. And we jogged every single morning with them. And this is every Saturday. We did it for, I think, 10 Saturdays. Mm-hmm. And we took them through the whole deal. And then that turned into the recruit prep program, which now LA County adopted. And we did run that with help from other firefighters from LA County. And we are working on our EMT program now as we speak. So we want to give opportunity to those that otherwise have not been exposed. In LA County, there's a lot of junior colleges, but it's a long wait list to get onto that EMT, long wait list. And if you want to take an accelerated one, it costs a lot of money. And the means aren't there for everyone. So we want to give back and have an opportunity to, number one, you can actually get paid in our program, potentially, as we team with our board of supervisors, and then get your cert. So that's what we are striving towards, and that's what we've been doing.
Well, congratulations on all the phenomenal work that you guys do.
Thank you. It's not me. It's a group of folks. I'm just the middleman. You know, I make the moves on the chessboard. Everyone else executes.
Amazing. And so I would love to hear more about the other two.
Sure, I'll go next. Mm-hmm. Brothers United. I happen to be the vice president. One of my goals is to be the president. We were speaking about that earlier.
There we go.
We were speaking about that earlier. Brothers United is the Black firefighters organization within San Diego City. Let's go back a little bit of history. So I think it was 1948 when President Truman signed an executive order to integrate the military. Around 1951, we had a fire chief who was I will call him a trendsetter. And this is very important because we're here talking about African Americans in the fire service, but this person was not African American, but there definitely was a trendsetter. And what this fire chief would do was handpick their organization. I think it was common back then in the 50s. Well, he handpicked a African American gentleman by the name of Benny Holman, and he told him, according to Benny, and you can look this up. It's called "The Men of Station 19." It's on YouTube. The fire chief told Benny Holman that you're going to be my Jackie Robinson in the fire department. So what he did, his first day on the job, he sent him to Fire Station 14. So at the time, if you were African American, you can only work at Station 19, which was in Southeast San Diego. Couldn't work anywhere else. When Benny got on it and Chief gave him that mission, he sent him to Station 14, which was all the other stations predominantly white, or were all white. The captain at the time called the chief and said, "Hey, I think there's been a mistake. We have a boy here that doesn't belong here. He needs to go back to Station 19." The fire chief told him that this is the way things are going to be, and if you don't like it, you can drive down to headquarters and turn in your badge, because this is a new fire department. We're integrating the fire department. George Corser was his name, I believe. Incredible individual, because I can only imagine what he had to go through once he made that decision at that time. It had to be low pressure on him and his family. Let's just say that. So from that point forward, we integrated the fire service. In 1972, Chief Osby started Brothers United. So it's coming full circle. Chief Osby, who hired this gentleman, who hired me.
He started it.
He started Brothers United in 1972. And the goal of Brothers United was the progression, or to hire African Americans and the promotion of African Americans that were currently on the job. Since then, it's transitioned. It's still the same focus, but now it's the hiring of women, promotion of minorities within the fire service and EMS. So we're all inclusive, and we have the same classes like the Stentorians, and hiring process and testing processes. Everything he just said, they're much larger scale. We're in a process of getting an EMT school going. San Diego is a perfect climate right now. So our Mayor Todd Gloria speaks a lot about diversity, inclusion, and so on and so forth, right? Our city council speaks the same thing. One of our city council members, Montgomery Stepp, she's the council president pro tem, amazing speaker. When I go to city council and she speaks, you just listen and you see the reaction from all the people. So right now, San Diego is prime for this whole diversity and inclusion thing. So I came up with the idea to have an EMT school, but where do we have it? Everybody's preaching diversity, equity, inclusion, but when you go to the inner city, there's nothing there. So right now it's just a speaking point, right? So I had the idea, called all the presidents of the local city colleges together for a meeting, which has never been done before. I found out at the meeting.
First one.
First one. I had no idea how it was going to go, but I wanted to make a pitch to have an EMT class, EMT school in the inner city. There's nothing there. And as I go, I'm in charge of recruiting also. As I go out with my recruiter, we tend to run into people who all have the same story. They would like to be a firefighter. First of all, they don't know how. Then once you tell them, like, oh, I would really like to do it, but I get off work at 3 or 4 o'clock, and EMT school is either in the far north side of San Diego or the far south side of San Diego, and there's no way to get there in time, especially if you're taking public transportation. So long story short, the colleges have agreed. We have something in motion. It's right on the bus line. It's right in the inner city. It's called the Educational Cultural Complex. And once that happens, then we'll have that permanent pipeline to a very diverse group, because in that community, everything's there. And it's in a neutral zone. I mean, you can't You can't ask for a better situation. But that was all on a limb. I just called in a brief meeting, not knowing what's going to happen, thinking outside the box, and it just happened to work out for me. So that's one of the things Brothers United is doing. And then another thing we're doing is after the football player that just had the cardiac event.
Yep. DeMar.
Right. At the time, I was working on a study with a group of doctors about emergency care in diverse communities. And some of the things that we discovered was, one, that a lot of people in our communities don't know CPR. They don't know what to do. So the savior rate in those communities are almost nil because people just don't know what to do. So we're working with a bunch of community groups. I don't want to say names of these groups, but working with a bunch of community groups to start doing free CPR classes in the inner city, and just rotate to various large venues that we always have these large venues in the inner city. But now we're going to give them something of substance where they come to these venues, they can leave with certification that they're CPR certified. Not only will they get that certification that will be able to help people in the community, but they can use that certification on their resume. It starts to spring fruits of the labor, right? So we're doing a bunch of stuff. I don't want to take up all the time, but we're doing a bunch of stuff within our groups, within our two groups that are similar. But the goal is to get that diversity within the fire service and to educate our people to go on and do bigger and better things.
Man, you're a trendsetter, like you said. It's like the chief. You're a trendsetter.
I don't know. I'm just a piece of the puzzle. Just a piece of the puzzle.
But even these ideas, though, to get all these people into a room that have the ability to change the trajectory of how something would go, incredible idea, and it's amazing to see like how it's coming to fruition, you know, incredible.
Same timeline, same. Again, a chapter of the International. Santa Clara County Black Firefighters, founded in 1973. So this is the 50th year. Looking forward to celebrating with those that are still around. Unfortunately, we've lost some of our early trailblazers, some of our first, one very recently. But again, that same level of exposure, started out doing recruitment. The chapter would have meetings every Thursday. And they would do everything from resume writing to job skills to mock oral boards, you name it. And it was always inclusive, primarily for African Americans, but no one was excluded. And there would be brothers and sisters from various departments, primarily San Jose, but it was a countywide chapter. So we had members in Santa Clara County Fire, Milpitas, Palo Alto, mostly from San Jose, and then we would also have other opportunities to fellowship from Oakland Black Firefighters. Alameda County had a chapter at the time, Berkeley, San Francisco. So if you were kind of in that circuit of looking for a job, you came across these same folks, depending on where you were geographically. But again, same goals, same outcomes. So again, that exposure, and it continues to today. One of the most successful programs, and I'm sure you're familiar with Wellington Jackson, who recently retired from Alameda County Fire, and Damon Simmons and Sean Gassay from Oakland Fire. They were at a presentation where they met and had the opportunity to hear Brent Burton and Kwame Cooper talk about some innovative training that they had done. And those three brothers went back and turned that thought into Bay EMT. Phenomenal program.
Yes, it is.
They turn out great firefighters. I've hired a couple of them and looking forward to hopefully hiring some more. They get their Firefighter 1, their Firefighter 2, and their EMT. And their success rate is phenomenal. They told me how many students they had graduated and how many have been hired in career departments. And I don't know of another program as successful as theirs. But again, all starting from that same seed, and motivated by the same individuals to do the same kind of thing. So
I do know Wellington Jackson. I've had the luxury of being able to work with him over the years. Every candidate I've ever met every cadet I've ever met from Bay EMT, just stellar, sharp, everything pressed, just everything is on point
Absolutely.
at all times. So that's absolutely amazing. It sounds like you were going to say something now.
No, I was going to say that is pretty amazing. Like, I'm learning a lot right now that I did not know about. And it gives me inspiration to take it back to my hometown, to my home county. And it also gives me inspiration to network more with these brothers and kind of come together to kind of bring back what used to be for this generation. And I think it's important that we as trendsetters, so to speak, navigate those waters.
Woven within the threads of what each of you said, there's these organizations that started for a reason. At the time, it was so necessary, it was so needed. And so even as the organizations move forward, they don't lose sight. The mission never loses sight of the premise of it. But it moves to become more inclusive. So the target audience or the primary group is always going back to African Americans, going back to Black people getting into the fire service. But moving forward has become much more inclusive to kind of include everyone. And hey, this is an opportunity. And if you don't know how to fill out this form, we're going to help you to do that. If you don't have the access to be able to do that, we're going to help you out with that. So I think doesn't matter what I think. The work is incredible.
Absolutely.
The work is absolutely incredible. So, man, I want to go back to an idea that was mentioned in your intros, and it was this idea of, and I think you mentioned it, it was this idea of not being able to see yourself as a firefighter at first. And so I want to talk about, I want to listen to your responses in terms of how did you make that shift, or how did you make the shift from going from Anheuser-Busch, basketball, the post office, college, that kind of thing, to not only is this, everyone's telling me this is a really good career I need to get into, not a job, a career. It may set me back financially, but I can see in the long run how it's going to be a better fit for me. What was it like making that transition in your mindset?
If you see somebody that looks like you that's already doing it, it's that much easier to realize that that's something that I can attain. Because if you can't see it, you don't think about it. And even for me, one of the really good friends in the neighborhood, his dad was one of the first Black firefighters in San Jose. But we knew him as Jerry, Kenny's dad, not because we never saw him on duty. But up until you actually see someone go by on an engine or a truck that looks like you or looks different from what you perceive as the norm, do you think, oh, that's something that I might be able to do?
We as a group is usually, we think about sports or music for the most part. I know the sports side of it, it's mostly the meal ticket out of quote unquote the hood. I'm not saying everyone is from the hood, but that is the premise that we are raised in. And with me coming from a sports family, nothing was forced upon me. However, speaking to my father, he grew up at Crenshaw High School in LA. Major sports athletes came out of that school. However, one of his classmates, Chief Mark Tobert, who rest in peace, also went to Crenshaw at the same exact time. And he told me the story that he remembers Mark Tobert was going the firefighter route during the 70s or late 70s, early 80s. And my dad went the sports route. Now, my dad, looking back, wishes that he could have followed Mark because although you're in the limelight and you're an athlete, celebrity, blah, 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 for this small little window, I want to just tell those out there watching that this is a career. If you want to retire at 55 years old, if you want, and I tell all the athletes, if you want to sign a 25-year contract for X amount of dollars, this is it. We don't think about medical bills when we get older. We don't think about retirement. We don't think about stability for our families and our kids and parents as well. I think that this parallels sports so much that the transition for football, basketball, baseball, soccer, doesn't matter what sport, it transitions so seamlessly that you can do it. You can literally do this job if you play sports. And I'm only speaking about the sports because that's all I know. And it transitioned so well. I had no issues physically or mentally because I've been through it all. I've had to study a playbook this thick. The firefighter playbook might be this thick, you know? So I just wanted to tell, you know, the people out there that if you can see it, like Chief said, you can achieve it. Plain and simple. And if you play sports, it's even easier, in my opinion.
And just to add on what these two gentlemen said, one of the things I do when I go out with our recruiter, and no matter what age group we go out to recruit, I always ask them, imagine a firefighter and tell me what you see. The answer is never female, it's never a person of color, it's always that same image, right? And that's how we start off our recruitment. So I say, erase that image and look around the room. Anybody in this room can do it. Now, here's the key. Your goals and your mission in life have to align. Like your behaviors, your decisions, everything has to align. If they deviate a little bit, this is a very tough profession that a lot of people want to get into. A lot of people outside of our race understands the benefits that come with this career. Therefore, you got to put everything into it. So if you're at home and you're thinking about becoming a firefighter, you're already sort of behind the 8-ball. Start moving towards becoming a firefighter. And one of the most important things is to remember that once you're on that journey, once you decide to jump in that arena, every day is an interview.
That's right.
Whether you're in a classroom or if you're at the beach with your buddies or whatever you're posting on Instagram, every day is an interview. And anything outside of what you see or what we see as a professional firefighter can deviate those dreams. A simple photo. So if you're thinking about becoming a firefighter, it's a journey and it's a commitment. You can't do it halfway.
And put some action behind that thought.
Action behind a thought, you can't do it halfway. Every day is an interview.
And it's well worth it.
Right?
It's well worth
it.
I'll interject one more thing on that, Lasana. And the only time I ever had anybody try to be a detractor was at a very unique time in the early 90s when the .com was, and there were friends that we had in the community, oh no, I'm going over here to this company or that company because of the stock options. We chose slow and steady with a defined pension, with great benefits, as Johnny mentioned. So that was the only time there were ever any detractors. And I would say to piggyback, get a group of supporters, whether it's other people that are interested in the career, through community college, through classes at one of the Black firefighter organizations. Build your team and keep that network so you can support each other through it. And eventually the ones that really want it might not get hired in the same department that you get hired at, but they're always going to be friends and peers, lightweight competitors, people that you joke with, people that you socialize with. And again, you know, we're talking about some of the same folks that have been in my supporter, friend, peer, mentor circle for 32, 33 years now. And those same folks are still there. So
That's right. And you speak about support. Your friend group, you may have to eliminate some folks as well, unfortunately, when you try to get this career as well. This career will ask you for 10 resources, 10 people that aren't your family, that you have to give their names, numbers, and everything. If you are hanging out with the wrong crowds that don't support you and your vision and your goals, you may have to kind of step back a little bit from that particular person or that particular group. And focus on those that do support you, focus on those that do motivate you, focus on those that want to see you do well, that don't, hate on you behind the scenes or, prey on your downfall. And you talked about the support, your family, let them know that this will be hard. My wife and I, at the time, we had just one kid. She was my full support. I was tunnel vision, thought fire the whole time. And again, you guys might hate me for this. I got to parallel sports. But when you do sports, you are dedicated. Yeah. Mamba mentality. It's the same thing with the fire service. You have to be dedicated. You eat it, you sleep it, you dream it. And you wake up morning, workout, you go to classes, you do this, you work out again, you study, you work on your speech, you work on this, you work on your interview, you go to different networking groups, you earn your stripes by attending different classes and different events that organizations put on to build your network, like Chief said. So you have to talk with your family first, I think, and you have to let them know that this is going to be a grind for us, but it's a bigger picture.
Okay. All right. So support, very important, huh?
Very,
Very important.
I don't know how many large
stop.
things get accomplished without support, you know? Man. So here at the JAC, we host career expos. We host, we have a free EMT academy. We just launched a free paramedic academy. These programs are absolutely incredible. And so they really aim to target the person who may not know about the fire service. You know, for the expos, we want you to have all the information. Who may not have the opportunity to do an EMT program because they are so impacted. The wait list is so long. And so we want you to have, you know, a lot of these opportunities that are available to you. We also do test prep, you know, through FCTC. And so it's amazing to see like all of these resources exist. And I think a lot of it is finding out how to tap in and where to go to learn more. You know, let's talk about vision and goals and things like that. I would love to hear day to day, because each of you are in different positions at your fire departments. What does a typical day look like for you? What do your responsibilities consist of? And we would love to start off with you.
Responsibilities.
I'll go first because mine's probably the least amount of fun. And you know, over the course of my career, I was a firefighter, an engineer, an inspector, a captain, a battalion chief, a division chief, a deputy chief, and now fire chief twice. Honestly, for me, it's always been about taking care of my people. People are always first in my eye, and then everything else kind of falls into place. Mine is my day-to-day is dealing with the union, providing guidance to each one of my deputies or division heads in fire prevention, in operations, in training in EMS, my business manager. So ensuring that there aren't any roadblocks to the work that they're trying to bring up to support their division. It's council meetings, it's community engagement, it's recruitment activities, which is, you know, one of the things that I enjoy the most because it gives me the opportunity not only to interface with my own fire personnel, but also with the community because of the work that we're really trying to do in Fremont to diversify the department more so than has already been done with the last two classes that I was very successful in recruiting with the help of FCTC and Cal-JAC, and looking forward to doing another recruitment. But outside of that, my day-to-day is mostly meetings. So the time that I do have an opportunity to go and visit my folks in the fire station, I still relish that. When I have the opportunity, if they're going on a call, depending on what the call is, I'll jump on the rig with them and go. If it's something that, you know, just a little EMS call or whatever, but sometimes I'll skip those. But at the same time, you know, I still relish being in the fire station. I miss that part of it. That's why I got into it. That part of it is still exciting to me. I still respond as the duty chief at some time. And other times, if I'm in town and around and there's a significant call, I still like to go and show up. But my day is mostly meetings.
Busy schedule, though.
Busy, especially this time of year. It's budget season, so.
Yeah, that's intense. Oh, man, would you like to?
Sure.
All right.
Well, I'm currently the Deputy Chief in charge of Employee Services. Before I was a Deputy Chief in charge of Special Operations, which is all the fun stuff. So now I have all the necessary stuff.
Okay.
So what falls under me is the Fire Academy. So all the hiring, firing, all that stuff falls under me. Recruitment, health and safety, which is a big one. unfortunately, our professional standards unit, which could be called internal affairs also, our community resource, our cancer awareness group, and our staffing unit. So all those are very, very busy units. So currently, we're working on, remember, it's only 12 months in a year. So currently, I have a recruit phase I just finished. So we're going to be interviewing probably about 1,400 people. I have 2 engineers exams coming up this year. I have a captain's exam coming up this year, and also a battalion chief's exam coming up this year. It's only 12 months. Yeah, but
Right.
what the chief wants, so that's what the chief gets. Some of the big things, daily I come in and I touch base with my fire academy. We currently have a fire academy in, and I need to know how many recruits we still have, so I can report that information to the fire chief, because he has to give a report to council on staffing and things of that nature. Our health and safety piece, and I always tell people when I go out to recruit, do your research, make sure you want to be a firefighter, because they only see the good, right? You put the turnouts on, you get the badge, your life changes for the better for the most part. But I have this badge shroud on because we just lost a firefighter to cancer. So until the funeral, we wear this badge shroud and we take it off afterwards. So our health and safety unit is extremely busy with mental health stuff and just that various stuff. I talked a lot about behavior. Our professional standards unit deals with all the on-duty and off-duty misconduct. And there's more than there should be, let's just say that. Our community resource group, we have a lot of things scheduled with different community events. People want to do ride-alongs. We're going to fire. People want to come do things at fire stations. We go out and we do different things. We do things with the Padres. We're all over the place with our community resource. So I always have to keep a beat on that because I have to report that stuff to the fire chief. Also keep him apprised of everything he has to know, because a lot of those things are high profile. As the chief knows, fire chiefs don't like surprises.
Never. Not even on my birthday.
Fire chiefs don't like surprises. And then staffing, I touch base with them most mornings, especially on weekends, Fridays and weekends, because that's when people decide if they want to work or not, even if it's a regular duty day. So staffing is important. Keep those numbers. We have to keep those fire station staff. We're a constant staff fire department. So if people don't show up, we can't just close fire stations. So we start forcing people to come to work. And that's another thing. If you want to be a firefighter, when you sign up to be a firefighter, you sign up to be a firefighter. Now, what that's going to come with, you're going to miss anniversaries, you're going to miss birthdays, you're going to miss Christmas, you're going to miss Valentine's Day, you're going to miss some important dates to you and your family. And if that's an issue, you might want to rethink your career path. And there's ways to try to plan for that, but ultimately, something's going to happen, right? You're supposed to get off and boom, you're off in the strike team to Yosemite. And you're not back for 14 to 21 days. Some things you just can't plan for. So that's a brief part of my day. The most alarming part of my day is that 80 to 150 emails. I really appreciate when I see I'm CC'd. However, I've been burned a few times. Some people decide to talk to you when you're only CC'd on an email. Okay. So now I have to read, you got to read all of them. So very busy, never stops. All my divisions are constant, and it's a grind, but it's a grind that I appreciate. It's a grind that has made me better. It's a grind that has awarded me things in life that I could have gotten other ways, right? But it's just different. Once you become a firefighter, it's just different. It's just better. There's no real words for it.
Yeah, we feel it.
That's so true. So true.
We've all had regular jobs, and I don't think any of us would call this a job, even with our current positions where we're constantly grinding. It's definitely a luxury that brings a certain pride to you, a certain pride to your family, and it's just a wonderful thing. I encourage, after you do your research, I encourage people to
Let me
go for it.
interject one thing before this young man starts. He mentioned the potential for sometimes missing holidays. Depending on the jurisdiction where you work and your availability, we don't have the mandatories that either one of you have because we're in a smaller organization. But I will say, for someone who's considering a career in the fire service, some of my most fun holidays, Thanksgivings, Christmases, were at the fire station.
For sure.
Especially when the family can come and visit you and spend time with you and enjoy your company at the fire station. So yes, there are going to be some events that you're going to have to miss, and the potential for something happening in California where the majority of us are part of the mutual aid system, it could happen. You could be out for 14 days at a time. But for the most part, when there's other holidays, it's a great time to be at work.
Yeah. And key example, Thanksgiving's coming up. I'm part of our urban search and rescue team. I go down to help them load up because they're going under deployment. I'm not going. I've already made it clear I'm not going. I'm flying family in for Thanksgiving. We load everything up. They need a task force leader. Can't go without a task force leader. I'm the only one available, even though I flew everybody in for Thanksgiving. So I'm at the Paradise Fire and I had Thanksgiving in a tent, but it's part of the job. And we were on a very important mission at the Paradise Fire that I'm extremely proud of. So,
man, daily life for me, it's definitely not like the Chiefs. Man.
A lot more fun though.
Man, so LA County and most departments have a bunch of resources. And when I say a bunch of resources, not just the fire engine and the fire truck or the ambulance, as people would call them, or squad cars.
You have a very exciting job.
So we have, like Chief said, he was the chief of special operations. So I work on the air operations section where we have Black Hawks and Bell 412s. And we work with a pilot and a crew member every day. It's just three of us. And we are at the beck and call of those that call 911. And our calls consist of, well, our day starts off with meeting at the table, like every station probably in the world that have their morning lineup. This is what the day consists of. This is what important emails came out. This is what training we have. This is the visuals we have, blah, blah, blah. After that, you go check all your equipment. You go make sure everything's good because you're going to be hanging on that hook or you're going to be flying in that aircraft. So you go make sure that everything's checked out. Same thing with the fire engine. You're going to be wearing that SCBA. You're going to be putting on those turnouts. You're going to be riding in that fire engine. So depending on your position, you check out your equipment. And then should a call get banged out, we go fly to it. We are multi-mission. So when people think of firefighting, in a helicopter, it's not just dropping the water from the aircraft, which we do that. Obviously, California has a bunch of fires, but we also do regular medical calls. I can't say regular because if a helicopter is needed, you probably need to get to the hospital pretty quick. So we do traffic collisions, strokes. We fly to Catalina. That's part of our area to get the people off of the island there to a appropriate hospital. We do rescues in the forest. And when I say rescues, we have a 300-foot or 250-foot cable that we hang off of, and we rescue people with straps and seats and all kind of cool stuff. And it's 24 hours a day. If it's raining, I'm out there standing outside the aircraft getting drenched. However, we have the equipment to support our mission. So we do have cold weather gear. And we rescue those people, we bring them up. As paramedics, we do what we need to do ALS-wise, which is advanced life support. And we have the same equipment that the engine or fire truck will have. And then we land on freeways when needed. If there's a traffic collision, we work in cohesion with the ground units, and we make way for the helicopter to land, and we take care of our victim. And then during fires, we just go obviously fight fires and drop water on the hot stuff. And we train daily. Next month, we have swift water training because, again, during the rains, we do have flash floods. We do have at the LA River, and we are trained to do those swift water rescues as well as blue water rescues. The Coast Guard is a little far from where we are, so we are first up for the ocean rescues. So we do a lot of stuff, but again, most of it is based upon the call. But we always trained and ready to go. And then when I switch hats during my duty day, I do emails and take care of my members and come up with planning strategies for events that we may have or different seminars we may have. Board meetings obviously happen. And then we also work with the union as well. So it's busy, but not as busy as them because we don't get called every single hour. So there's times where I get to watch the games, I get to hang out with the crew, get to, kind of BS a little bit. But overall, again, this is the best career in the world. I thought I had it prior to this, and boy, was I wrong. This is it.
Oh man.
This is it.
There's just so much, to each of your jobs. I feel like it definitely, or your roles, I should say. I feel like the fire service definitely attracts a certain type of human,
Yes.
that really enjoys and relishes in being able to help and give back.
Yes.
Definitely.
A lot of type A personalities for sure, too. So, again, and remember, we're living with each other. We live with each other. We clean after each other. We cook for each other. So there's a family emergency. We are taking care of each other. So we are truly a family.
It really speaks to, Chief, even what you were saying about, being able to celebrate with your family sometimes, maybe not at home, but at the firehouse, and just the extension of that family.
Exactly.
Incredible.